So, we're going to talk about Ethereum. Can we get an opportunity of a lifetime buying low? So hi, welcome to the channel. If you are new, please do subscribe, hit the bell button, like and comment. Before we start, I did a video briefly on this on Learning Crypto channel. Check it out. It is my company, so it is me doing the videos, so you know, if you get a bit confused, there's not two channels, it's just totally separate, okay? With regard to Ethereum, let's talk about it now. I'm very vocal about Ethereum. I've openly said it's pretty crap in terms of how it works, its use case. It's very, very slow and sluggish. It's very expensive as well, but that is also an opportunity to know that there is high demand, and that is why the price is high. However, I do feel that Ethereum will go up in value over time, and I also think that, you know, essentially the competitors, the likes of Zilliqa, for example, with ZilSwap, will do very well due to the fact that the demand with Uniswap, as you can see on the screen here, 2.87 billion in liquidity already provided. Regardless of what you think about the DeFi projects, there's demand for this sort of stuff, even if it is scammy and all kinds of random rug pulls have happened. So overall, we know a few little things. Volume has dropped, the hype has dropped down, but this is a nice logical step forward for the space. In my honest opinion, the decentralized exchanges, the ability to swap, provide liquidity, and ultimately get things going in a more effective way without worrying about centralization and shitty exchange fees. So I think personally, and I've already covered this before in a previous video a long time ago, I said that Ethereum could be one of the investments of the decade. Now, a lot's changed since then, the big price rise, obviously the rise of Uniswap. And I do feel that still, but I will say this as advice. Please also check out alternatives to this. I've always said this, if Ethereum goes bang, as in boom, up to new price levels, the whole entire altcoin market will go with it. Just the way it goes. So if Ethereum does well, altcoins do well. If Bitcoin does well and Ethereum does not, well, your altcoins will bleed out. So I want to look at some random price predictions, and we're going to look at some little flaws in terms of what we're not expecting and what we could be expecting for Ethereum 2.0. And then we'll look at the chart and see where is a good place for you to buy as a potential investment, ultimately for the long term. But as I say, not financial advice, but this is just common sense. If you are in the cryptocurrency space and you are looking at Ethereum at a low buy order, I am personally, it could be a great long-term hold. However, what I will say, as I've just kind of alluded to, the likes of Zilliqa could be much bigger multiples. The likes of Polkadot could be much bigger multiples. So just bear that in mind. Now, let's talk about some random little price predictions. Now, this is provided by PrimeXBT. They do quite a good little blog forecast in terms of like throughout all the altcoins. And they take people from different places, obviously Twitter and stuff like that, and they get some good interest. We've got obviously Ethereum, $480 by obviously 2020. We've pretty much done that. Simon Dedrick, co-founder of Blockflare, really, really good researches. Ultimately predicts 9,000 per token. That is a huge amount of gainage. In my personal opinion, I think that one, well, we don't know. We don't know how long that could take. You never know. But if Ethereum is that price, a lot of your altcoins will be much higher as well. That will be the whole market going absolutely boom in an upcycle. In terms of the next one, long-term self-taught trader believes that potentially short to mid-term, $780. And then we've got managing partner of Blocktown, James Tudor. That's a weird name, how to say that one. Also predicts potentially 9,000 per token. Says Ethereum market cap will reach 1 trillion, which, yeah, cool. So very, very interesting. Moving down though into some more bigger kind of past predictions in terms of the past. Obviously we had some crazy predictions 2 weeks into 2016 up to that. So that was kind of a year out, but ultimately that happened. Mike Novogratz, obviously a very, very key figure in the crypto space. New year of all-time high, so wasn't actually too far away from that in reality. So, well, I say that it was over 200% extra on top of it. But overall, we never knew what was happening. But in terms of this going forward, these are the kind of the prime XBT predictions. Now, obviously, we want to try and get a variation. I often look at predictions as a bit chalk and cheese in terms of the crypto space versus the stock market space. The reason being, they're often very much inflated and some. Obviously, 9,000 per token would be amazing if you buy now, obviously, yeah. But chances of that happening? Well, who knows? Very, very unlikely in my honest opinion. I personally feel that it has a lot of... There's a lot of things that have to come about and happen for that to obviously happen. Obviously, you can see here, these are like the predictions. Now, if that does happen, well, who knows? But we start getting a bit crazy now. And I'm going to be honest with you. Prime XBT, please give me whatever you are having in your cups of coffee, because potentially up to $50,000 per Ethereum in 2025. Personally, I think that's absolutely nonsense. And then you've obviously got some of the fib levels, obviously, where they can go. But it is all crazy. This is crazy numbers. We do not know what's going to happen. And obviously, we've got to be careful with that. If you start seeing, in my opinion, a $4,000 Ethereum and you bought at $200, whoo, you've won big time. Take some money off that table and hopefully chill out for a bit, because that's crazy gains on its own. Never mind 9,000, never mind 50,000. So just be careful. But what we need to talk about first, before we get into all kinds of like potential buy order areas where you can look at, there's a lot of unanswered questions. As mentioned here in this potential ripple effect, there's obviously a bit of research. Now, we need to figure out, obviously, this. Do we end up with a split? We don't know. There's been not enough, in my opinion, not enough information about Ethereum 2.0. How, or when, and why is it coming into the market at such a, in my opinion, a delayed area? For me, looking at 2017 with Ethereum, it broke. It's broke again 3 years later, and it's the same legacy blockchain. There's been no changes realistically when you look at the speed and how it kind of works. But there's some lingering little questions here that have been asked to the Ethereum, like obviously Ethereum team. What does a multi-chain future look like? There's another one there. If it succeeds, what does it mean for these smart contract chains out there? Are they going to cease to exist? We don't know. There's ultimately other things. You've obviously got all this stuff about yield farming, obviously liquidity mining, how it kind of works, how the miners are getting paid so much money. And obviously the stake on there could end up with, like, talk about obviously the hot dog coin and stuff like that. So there's a lot of unanswered questions, but the ones that I want to ask is, how fast is it going to be? Will it have a better spend mechanism in terms of the gas fees? Because it is fucking astronomical, by the way. No one wants to spend that much money on it, and that is all to do with the hype and the emotion of doing it. This is why I think the likes of Zilliqa will do very well, because if the demand is there and there's a bridge there, people will just gravitate over to the cheaper, faster version, because it's the same thing. If you can trade your ERC20 tokens on the same looking platform, it's just not Uniswap, which is just network of Ethereum, but they're using the Zilliqa chain on ZilSwap, well, guess what's going to happen? People are going to just gravitate there because, one, it'll be pretty much free to use, and also it'll be instant. So that's where the gloves could come off essentially. But in terms of that, there's all kinds of unanswered questions, as I alluded to here, how it'll work and stuff like that. And there's already been tweets by Vitalik Buterin about the regard of layer 2, you know, solutions. They could be years away. That's like, what? You know, that's literally years away. What? So there's big questions need to be asked about. Is it still a good investment if it goes low enough? Oh, definitely. In my opinion, yes. So let's move on to some analysis now. Weekly chart as it stands. This is my overall analysis. As I say at the start of the video, if you want to see the full analysis of this, check out that link. Go to the Learning Crypto YouTube. There's a full video on how this kind of came about. Now, this is the obvious kind of weekly levels. When you're looking at the weekly, you're going to get some interesting areas. Obviously, where we've kind of stopped and turned around, where we are now. Now, we are forming a bit of a bullish trend in the short term, essentially. But for me, if the market goes bearish, and I'll be honest with you, if it does turn bearish, and I hope it kind of does in a way, I think there's got to be a bit of a... I feel there's going to be a bit of a shakeout and a rug pull of the entire market. I just feel that if the S&P goes down even by 5 to 8% maybe, that is equivalent to a 30% drop in the crypto market. That's usually how the numbers work. With that in mind, can you stomach a 30% drop from here if you bought from this point? Well, you should be able to. But what does a 30% drop look like overall, even at current market prices? Let's just look at roughly right now. If we're going to drop 30% overall in Ethereum, that would lead us directly down to roughly $250. In my opinion, $250, it could still be quite pricey when you look at where we've been in the previous kind of bear markets. But that's not to say that we're ever going to get another bear market like that. We may get a dip, but will we get a bear market before a big run? We don't know. Obviously, we can't predict markets. This has moved up a significant amount. It's definitely broken structure. You can see that, it's obvious. But overall, it depends on the hype of the Uniswap, the decentralized, the DeFi world. Is it going to carry on with the hype if there's a 30% drop? If that 30% drop, by the way, is in the world of Bitcoin, well, you can bet your bottom dollar that this will not be a 30% drop. It will not be. It will be much higher. It's an altcoin, obviously. It may be looking at a 50% drop. If that is a 50% drop from this point, well, do you have the stomach to go down to about $180, which is roughly where this support level is, where this weekly band is? In my opinion, I think that is the most logical place we could be if the elections turn out to be absolutely dog shit, or there's a stock market dump due to what's happening in COVID. We could see a retracement of 50% in Ethereum very, very easily, given that information. Looking at the world of, the world of finance essentially. But what have we got? We've got a short-term bullish trend from the 23rd of September, right, going upwards. In my opinion, we're going up and testing these levels. But are we in a longer-term bear trend due to this top? That's where we need to find out. That's where we need to break. In my opinion, I think we're going to come down. I think everything's aligning nicely to November time, which is obviously elections. So do not rule out potential buy orders. First buy order, in my opinion, should always be 307. Why? It is where the support level has been. This is also where the 618 level is of the previous region when you look at the overall chart. But most important thing is we've got to look at where the future lies for Ethereum. You need to get the best possible buy order. Simple as that. But for me, it could well be we might be going downwards, in my opinion. And if you look at like from this top here to this like bottom area, give or take, obviously we've got this massive pop. 618 levels here, obviously key important areas, but it wouldn't shock me in the slightest to see these levels coming to fruition, in my opinion. So $200, wouldn't be a bad little place to be considering where it's been over the past year essentially. What about $150? What about $100? The risk reward gets bigger and bigger the lower it goes, so don't rule it out. So overall, video's done. Hope you enjoy, obviously. Not financial advice, obviously just a bit of realism as well. We could see a dump in the market. If the market does dump, well, guess what? Boo. We can buy up some nice little Ethereum and sit on them for the long term. So overall, as I say, if Ethereum goes down, the altcoins will go down. If it go up, obviously they'll go up as well. Most important thing to remember, what Bitcoin does. If that S&P does dump, well, guess what? Bitcoin's going to follow it, I'm afraid.